This is an old school video response of VR, Blast from the Past, to Pop's Quest. And he had a video this morning. I don't know if I get it uploaded today, but he was talking about equity or equality of outcomes. And he was doing a VR to somebody else. I can't remember who he saw. News across the U.S. or something like that. I'll put the description here. Coast to coast guns coast to coast. And it was about the premise of equity, which is a euphemism or a disguised phrase for basically communism, right? Communism, the root word is commune, or shared resources, right? The premise of communism works good on paper, right? Everybody gets the same, something like that. I don't want to get into the details of the communism, the ideology of Karl Marx, and any of you who are fans of Karl Marx really need to look a little bit deeper into just the life of Karl Marx. The dude was basically a scammer. He mooched off his family, he mooched off his friends. He was a lazy SOB, and he came up with a premise that, well, the community needs to take care of people, right? But where do those resources come from? They have to come from producers. So if producers are helping if you're a producer, why do you'll need help in a society to do things that you're not good at. But anyway, straying away from the original premise of equality of outcomes. Equality of outcomes doesn't work, will never work, and the foundation reason why equality of outcome doesn't work is because there is no equality of performance. Everybody has different talents, everybody has different abilities, and everybody has different motivations, right? You can categorize people's abilities to a certain extent, but no two people have the same abilities, qualities, motivations, and ideologies. There's going to be just a hint of difference in each one of those areas, right? So to make two people who will never be equal, never be the same in capabilities, ideology, or quality, or motivation, to give them the same outcome or the same income or the same resources is not right. It won't work, because eventually you're talking two people, right? An organization of two people. One of those two people is going to want more, and then the other one's going to want more, and then the other one's going to want more, and then the other one's going to want more because, well, hey, I can do this better, I should get more. Well, no, I can do this better than you can, so I deserve more. So it goes back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. So it will never be acceptable to one person in the organization that both of them or everybody in the organization gets the same for different amounts of work. And the prime example of that is, I'll have to look at the news article and maybe put that link down in the description box, but there was a company where the CEO decided, hey, we're doing good, let's give everybody $70,000 a year, from the mail clerk, whatever. I don't know if it truly was everybody in the organization $70,000 a year, or just a certain category of people. But the premise of the news story that I heard was that everybody in this organization got $70,000 a year. Well, It wasn't long. I think it was like 2 weeks after he made this announcement. People were coming back, knocking on the CEO's door. Right? That's figuratively, probably literally, and saying, "Hey, I do more than Joe, so I deserve more than $70,000 a year, because if Joe only does this much work and he gets $70,000, I do this much work, I should get more than $70,000 a year." And it just kind of went downhill from there. More people started complaining, "Hey, I do more than this guy," or "Hey, why does this guy get more than I do?" Because and so you multiply that by a society, and it's just it's doomed to fail before it starts, because people insist that there's gonna be way more personalities differences out there, because in an organization, for the most part, people know what the company does, what the goals are for the company, and where you fit in that organization. Whereas in society, it's just across the board, right? You've got truck drivers, you've got carpenters, you've got plumbers, you've got accountants, and if everybody in that wide spectrum of abilities and motivations is going to get the same, it don't work. So the other example real quick is I worked at a company that had a union shop, and there were a few newer people who were just outstanding employees. They showed up early to work. They did more than their given workload for the day. They did it quick, they did it correct, and they were very motivated individuals. And one of them came up to the supervisor. Well, the supervisor told me, "Hey, Billy, or Joe, or Humpty Scrunch." So this dude came up to the supervisors, and they had a conversation, and the supervisor said, "Man, you're doing a great job. Thanks for all your help, and doing above and beyond." And I don't know if the guy was serious or just kind of making light, but he goes, "Well, if I'm doing so good, why don't you give me a raise?" And the supervisor said, "Well, this is a union shop. The union sets the wages for seniority and for job description, right? So if you're, say, a general laborer, you get $10 an hour. If you're a machinist, you get $20 an hour, and for every year you get some percentage increase after that." So making this number up, so say a machinist with 1 year service in the company gets $25 an hour. Well, next year he'll get $25.50, and the year after that he gets $26. And every year you get a 50 cent an hour raise, and that's it. That's where you fall in the pecking order, how long you've been there and what your job title is. Now, say if you were a general laborer and you wanted to qualify to be a machinist, if a machinist position opens up, you can bid into that position, and then once you're qualified and go through the training, and then you'll get that increase. You'll start at 1 year as a machinist. Anyway, so the supervisor said, "Well, unless you bid for a higher paying position, I can't pay you any more than what you're getting, because that's what the scale the union negotiated with the company." So it's also not that easy, because in order to bid, people with seniority get first choice of refusal. Basically, they get first dibs on any new positions that open up. Like if nobody with more seniority wants to bid for a certain position, then yeah, it just kind of trickles down the line. So say a machinist with 10 years experience gets first dibs than a machinist with 9 years in the company. So at that point, employees have very few choices. They can leave. It's always a choice. They can stay and keep doing what they're doing. But human nature being what it is, most employees would be like, then why am I busting my butt doing more than the next guy, because the next guy makes just as much as I do? So they'll scale back, and eventually they become part of the system too, right? They just they cool their heels and do no more than the next guy, and so then they compete to do as little as they can. The next guy does a little bit less, then the next guy does a little bit less, until it gets to a certain point where there's a potential for them to be fired. But in a union shop, that's probably not likely. Trust me, I live the union shop. I know what it's like, and so I'm not talking out of line here. But anyway, that's my video response to Pop's Quest. Go check out his video, and have a nice day. Later.